Well, our last interview made some noise, like usual.
Yeah.
Uh, there was a part where we talked about how Shaolin monks
Oh, okay.
are not as authentic as people think they are.
Right.
How they were just manufactured by China.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had a bunch of Shaolin monks like message me and
Mm-hmm.
want to get on the show to counter what you said,
Okay.
prove you wrong, and so forth. They're like, we respect Michael, but what he's saying is not true, and so forth.
You could Google it. I'm not saying nothing that deep. You could Google that shit. I mean, there's a reason why you've never seen a movie where there's Shaolin monks in a car. There's a reason. That's because it burned down 400 years ago. There's no argument to that. I know it's like, hey, okay, I'm sorry it hurt your feelings, but I happen to be speaking to people who like can use the knowledge of saying, oh wow, that's interesting. I think it's fascinating about just human nature. It fascinates me. Uh, it fascinates you that people want to believe in something that's a little bit more supernatural. They want to believe ninjas can do magic. It's fun. They want to believe Bruce Lee could beat up everybody. It's fun. I get it. But there's another side that's reality. That's like, hey, I'm not trying to shit on what you're doing. I'm just saying, hey, this is interesting when you look at it like this. Um, yeah, that's just what it is, and you can be upset about it, but or you could just research it, man. This is the world of Google,
Right.
you know. You know.
Well, in another part of that interview, you talked about Kimbo Slice
Mm,
and working with him and so forth.
yeah.
And a UFC fighter
Oh,
that
wow.
I'd never heard of named Mike Perry was upset over
Oh
some of the
man.
things you said.
Mm,
And, Mike Perry's a white guy.
yeah.
And he called you a bitch ass N-word
Yeah. Yeah.
on Twitter and stood behind it.
Yeah. Listen. I mean, let me tell you, I've gone to people's gyms and been like, "What's up?" in a second. This cat. Well, I basically looked into it and I said, "Let me check on this," and then I realized, oh, my man is not well. In my YouTube channel, right? I have an assistant named Alan Joban who is a UFC fighter. And I've trained with Alan for, I help him out. Alan beat the shit out of Mike Perry. You could look at it. It's like he beat the hell out of Mike Perry. Mike Perry is just, it's kind of jacked up because on one level, why I chose not to speak about anything else, because my man, he doesn't know anything. He may have a friendship with Kimbo Slice and he feels like I disrespected Kimbo. I didn't. I never told what Kimbo actually did say to me, all right? Which is, you ask Icy Mike, who was with Kimbo all the time. And when me and Kimbo would try to train together, uh, if I said what Kimbo actually said to me, he'd really be pissed off. But Kimbo didn't have ego. He was really trying to learn what he needed to do to become a better fighter. People like Boss Rutan try to help him out, try to get him the skills to get him on that next level. Yeah, I sparred with Kimbo. I like to talk about how somebody clowned me, or like what people did against me that was good. Like I even mentioned in that same thing where one time me and Billy Blanks were clowning around and he swept me and hit me before I hit the ground. We were clowning around, we were having fun. And I'll brag about how one of the worst sparring matches I ever had was with Mike Bisping, and I ran out of gas after the first round. And but like I don't like to sound like I can beat the hell out. I won't talk about that stuff so much. That's weak. But this whole thing with this guy Mike Perry, there's a part of me that goes, man, my heart goes out to fighters. They they put their butts on the line. They but once that crowd dies down, a lot of these fans, I say, hey man, check on them then, because that's when they really need your support. I feel like Mike Perry, I hope, even though he said that N-word thing, and if I see him, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I would love to see that dude. He doesn't know what he's. Let me just.
Because he's actually offering to fight you.
Listen.
He said, so fight me or pay me.
He's an idiot. Okay. He's an idiot.
Well, and he weighs.
It's like he's so out of. I'm like, look,
right.
If he could stop, I could tell him what I'm gonna hit him with. He can't stop it.
Okay, and let me just say, he weighs 170 pounds, and you weigh
230.
230. So you got 50 pounds on him, which is not everything, because I weigh more than him, and he could whip my ass, right? But I'm not a fighter.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You know, when you don't have the weight, I mean, it's a whole big difference. I mean, like, come on, man. I fight heavyweights that can hit me full blast. So you like way less, and you think you're gonna hurt me? You it's like, okay, yeah. So let's just box. You think you could? Oh, you can stop. You can stop it. Like, you can stop what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. Let's have it. I could do, but it's like, is that worth my time? Is that worth my time?
Okay, so what happens if you run into him? If he just walks in right now and sits down next to you, what'll happen?
You know, my thing is, like, I say, hey, come to the gym. I'll go to your, like, let's whatever, and let's see you speak all like that. There's a part of me that's like, I hate hearing myself sound like that because it's beneath me. I don't like people trying to bully anybody and talking craziness. So my thing was like, yo, come holler at me. You could DM me. It's not a problem. I'm sure you come to LA. It ain't that hard. It ain't that hard. But then I'm telling you, if I hurt this dude, I'm not gonna be proud of it, and I'm not gonna be bragging on it. It's like, there's part of me that's like, would feel, come on, man, like, come on. Like, he doesn't, I seen what his skill set looks like. He needs help, but I think he's gonna need a lot more help than that in life. I think he's his biggest enemy, and I'm not his problem. He's his biggest problem.
I mean, you know, he was a UFC fighter, right?
Yeah.
Will the UFC work with someone who throws out racist statements like that? Like,
yeah.
Remember that one? Like, recently there was that one NASCAR driver who was like on like Twitch or playing video games, and he threw out the N-word, and instantly NASCAR dropped him, Ford dropped him. It was done. Yeah. So why would UFC book a guy that's saying racist shit like
probably
this?
Not. It's ignorant. I mean, Dana White is way beyond that. Dana would not support that stuff.
So he just ruined his own UFC career by saying
so that. You know, when he does that, I'm like, because before he even said that, I was like, you know what? I wish you well. I'm gonna step back here, because I looked into it and I saw him threatening. He was threatening another heavyweight, the dude that does a podcast with Joe Rogan, right? Brendan Schaub. I'm like, you're threatening Brendan Schaub? Like, he'll hurt you, man. Like, so I said, oh, I see. The dude's got, he's got some issues. He's got problems. So that's why I was like, let me just step back. I wish you well. Keep it pushing. And then he starts with the whole N-word thing. Now it's like, now it's gonna be interesting if I see you. It's gonna be interesting if I see you. Because before I was just like, whatever, just go about your business. Nah, hey, it'd be interesting. So this whole fight me for money, come on, man. I've been beyond that since I've been fighting professionals since I was 17. I get in the ring with the best people that I could find. I'm like always talking about when Dan Cormier comes to town, I've been asking to try to spar with John Jones. I love this thing. What I do, I enjoy, exchanging skill and knowledge, all that type of stuff. Even sparring with Mike Perry, that would be somebody who's like so. I don't think I've ever sparred or fought with anybody with that lack of skill. I mean, honestly. So it's just like a paper, like what? Like that's not what I do. I'm not a professional fighter. Gladly. Early on, I saw what professional fighters' lifestyles was. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want any part of this. It doesn't match up to me.